Hi guys, so I know it's been a while since I've done a video again, and I'm sorry again. It's just, we are in September, and September is by far the busiest month of the entire season for us. I thought June was really busy. Oh my god. September has just been even busier than I could ever have even imagined, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's actually a really, really good thing, and I'm so excited. And we have done 7 weddings this month. This Saturday will be our last. We have a few more weddings in October, and then November finally starts to slow down for us. So we are at the home stretch of the 2011 wedding season, and I'm just kind of really excited to not close it out, because I will miss doing weddings, but I'm just really excited to pump out these last few weddings because they're going to be some really good ones. So I've just been so incredibly busy that I haven't even had time to sit down and kind of think about an informational video for you as far as advice and suggestions. When I do put a video out there, I try really hard to make sure that it's worthwhile for you to even be watching. So I don't want to do a video that most of you out there are going to be like, this isn't even worth me watching. So I haven't really had time to put one of those together, but I did want to come on here and at least say hello and do a video that I've been planning on doing for a while that doesn't really require too much work for me. Just because it will just be me talking about my advice and experience on becoming a wedding planner. I thought I would share with you my story about why I wanted to become a wedding planner, how I did it, how I broke into the business, how I started my own business, and all that good stuff. That's definitely numero uno as far as questions that I get asked. I don't get a ton of comments or a ton of inbox messages, but when I do, that question is definitely the main question that I get asked a lot. So, not even just like through YouTube and my blog and stuff, it's usually like family members and like when I'm going out and meeting new people, they start asking because they just want to know, because it's such a different, unique career that people are just like, well, how do you break into that, and why did you decide to do that, and all that stuff. So I thought I would do a video about it, and that way I could just kind of answer all those questions in one video, refer people to this video, and I'm going to enjoy doing this as well. I'm really excited to share my experiences with you, and hopefully you learn a little bit if you are interested in becoming a wedding planner, or you're just interested to see what it's really like to be a wedding planner. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. If you guys are not interested in hearing my story about this, you can, just feel free to turn this off now, because it will be a lot of personal advice and experience. So, when I was in high school, I was a very studious person. I always loved literature and writing. I did like history as well. Math, science were not my strong suits. And then finally, towards the end of high school, I realized that I did want to declare my major in college as journalism. So I started looking at journalism programs when I was researching colleges to go to. I finally landed on a small liberal arts state school in upstate New York, and I did declare my major as journalism. From the get-go, I was so excited and enthusiastic to be part of the newspaper. I started as just a contributing writer. I worked my way up to staff writer, copy editor, features editor, and then for 3 semesters I actually was editor-in-chief of our paper, which was probably the best time I ever had in college. It was great. I met a lot of wonderful friends that I still talk to this day on that paper, so that was a wonderful experience for me. Unfortunately, during my last semester at college, I started interning 40 hours a week at a local daily paper, and it was there that I realized it was just not the career for me. The reality of being in a position full-time like that, I did not like it. I didn't like the lifestyle aspect of it mainly. I didn't like the hours that you put into it, the pay, which is basically peanuts, the fact that the job market in that particular industry was declining so fast. Especially print journalism. Print journalism was something that I really wanted to get into solely because I was really starting to become more and more interested in the design aspect of it. I really liked the creativity, the photography, the actual layout and design of the newspaper, and if I had continued into journalism, I would have wanted to try so hard to break into that sector of print journalism. So, after college graduation, my last semester, it was kind of too late to change majors at that point. So I graduated with a degree in journalism. And right around that time was actually when Josh and I moved in together. I think we moved in together right after I graduated college. So we were kind of starting our life together, and I was looking into careers and thinking about what I wanted to do. And because I didn't really know, I wanted to get into something that was a little bit more creative. I started looking into marketing, advertising, and public relations jobs. I was still trying to find graphic design jobs, but because I didn't have a ton of experience in Photoshop and InDesign, just basically Adobe Creative Suite, I didn't think I was going to land anything along those lines. I started temping, just doing office work at this company that was in my town where I lived in upstate New York, and they focus on holistic healthcare and integrative healthcare. And I actually really liked the company from the start. I believed in their products. I was learning so much about their products and different lifestyles and different alternatives to just like Western healthcare, and it was really interesting, and I liked it. Not long after I started temping there, they offered me a position as a graphics and marketing assistant. So it was there where I worked directly under the art director for a lot of their print catalogs. I learned a lot about photography, especially product photography. I learned a lot about Photoshop, which those skills that I learned there to this day have influenced me as a wedding designer and planner. So I'm so grateful that I had that position. I just learned a lot, and I enjoyed so much laying out catalogs with the art director. Luckily, I was very fortunate to get along with that particular person really well. We just meshed completely, just our styles and aesthetic and our ideas, and it was just, that job was so much fun, and I absolutely loved it. About a year after working there, they made some serious restructural and reorganizational changes to the company, and I was no longer working for the art director, and I stopped learning. I just was not challenged. I was pushed into a position where I didn't feel like I was learning anything, like I said, or I was happy, and I just was no longer happy at that company, and I decided to start looking for other options. I slowly transitioned into another job at a different company, and I was a corporate communications coordinator for an international company that was based out in Switzerland, and I was kind of their corporate communications liaison between their marketing departments in Switzerland and in the US. So that was a really exciting position. I really enjoyed it. It allowed me to still be kind of creative as far as promoting marketing initiatives over in the US and kind of communicating with the Swiss office to make sure it translated well and everything. It was really fun and interesting. But unfortunately, about a year and a half into that job, Josh and I actually both decided together that we didn't want to live in upstate New York anymore, and we just really wanted to experience city life. We had both been out to Chicago to visit friends and family, and we loved it out here, and we decided to just up and move. We didn't have jobs, we didn't have any contacts out here really. I had a cousin out here who helped us out a lot, but other than that, we had nothing. We just moved. So I left that job. When I got out to Chicago, I started working for a startup company, which quickly went under. So that was kind of an interesting experience, at least to see a company from the very, very beginning. I mean, we were still getting funding from venture capitalists for the most part, and then it went under, and so I was laid off because they obviously couldn't afford to keep many people on staff, and then shortly after I left, it completely folded, I believe. And then I started working for the last job that I had before I became a wedding planner, and I was a sales support manager / office manager type position, and I liked it. It was fine. I was kind of in a place in my life where I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I knew that I liked kind of the general office sales environment. So I took that position, and I liked the company, I liked the people, but I just was increasingly unhappy, and I knew that I had to figure out something in my life to do. Back when I was working in New York at that last job I had as a corporate communications coordinator, I started to dive into corporate event planning quite a bit, actually. They just started putting those projects on my desk and plan this event and plan that event, and I started doing it, and I realized how much I actually genuinely love doing it. When I had a day focused solely on corporate event planning, it was a day that I was excited to get up and go to work, and it never felt like work, it always just felt like fun. So I started kind of reflecting back on that, and at that point in time, Josh and I were starting to plan our own wedding. Shortly after that, we got married, we got through the whole wedding planning process, and I realized that that was what I wanted to do. Just going through our wedding day itself, I kept reflecting back on how amazing it was for me to be able to sit back and relax and look at all of our guests that attended our wedding and just say, you know, they've been a part of my life for so long, and they traveled all the way here, because some people had to drive up to 6 hours to be at our wedding, and I couldn't believe that so many people gave up their Saturday to come celebrate with us. And I don't know, I was just so touched, and I was so grateful for our day of coordinator who was there helping us. I felt like I didn't have to do a single thing. All of my hard work, I just kind of got to see unravel and unfold and come to life, and I didn't have to do anything. And it was just the most amazing day of my life, because I just celebrated with friends and family. And to me and Josh, that was the greatest gift that we could have gotten at that point in our lives. It was just something that we still sit back and talk about today, saying, I can't believe all those people came and celebrated with us and were so enthusiastic and happy to be there. It was just the most touching, wonderful thing ever. If I could make a career out of that, I would be the happiest person alive. So I did. I just said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to create a website. Luckily, Josh has a lot of experience in web design and graphic design. And I also have some family members that are really creative and helped me along the way. And I put together a website. I started advertising on Craigslist as well as the Wedding Bee classifieds because those are also free. And I just kind of crossed my fingers and hoped for the best. One day, on a cold winter day, I remember I was sitting at work and I left to go on my lunch break and I checked my email on my phone and I had gotten a Wedding Bee message from one of the bee bloggers. I'm not going to say who it is. I haven't really gotten her permission to mention her name. But she said she was in the Chicago area looking for a day of coordinator. She had a low budget and was looking for someone who was just starting up and was interested in hearing more about me and how I approach wedding planning. So of course I was elated. That was the first inquiry I had gotten and I was like, you know what? I'm going to like go into this full speed and just go for it. I really was not expecting to get any emails or inquiries at all for like at least a few months, just because I didn't have any experience. I had corporate event experience behind my belt, but that was pretty much it. So I was so excited. I remember I had to go out and buy a professional looking outfit because I had always worked in offices where it was kind of like less than business casual. I could wear jeans and shirts and stuff like that. I hadn't really had any professional work outfits. I remember I had to go out and buy something that looked professional. I had to put together a checklist and all this stuff so quickly and fast, but I loved doing it. I was just so ready to go, and that was the only motivation I needed, was to just get that one interested person, and I knew that I could at least take it from there to the next step. So we set up a consultation. I met them for breakfast on a Sunday afternoon, and I got an email a couple days later saying they wanted to hire me to do their wedding. And it was just the most amazing, wonderful feeling ever. I felt so validated. I felt like I was on the right path to my life. And I don't know really how else to explain it. I just felt so good about myself, and I felt so proud that I took this chance in my life and paid off, because normally I don't take huge risks in my life. Moving to Chicago was probably the biggest thing that I had ever done. I'm usually a very calculated person. But now that I've done this wedding planning thing, which I'll touch on later in the video, I feel like you really should take these risks in life, because even if they don't pay off, at least you can look back and say, you know what, I tried. I tried to do something that would make me happy. At least I know now that it's not going to work out, and I can try to find other ways to make myself happy. So that was that. So I got my first client, and what I started to do to get clients was offer my services for free. If you have no wedding planning experience, you really cannot find a person that will pay for your services. I really had to offer my services for free to the first 3 clients that I got. So that's what I did. And believe it or not, I did not have a hard time finding people. I was really surprised by that. I didn't really expect that. I started getting inquiries very quickly, and they just started rolling in. So I got my first 3 clients right off the bat. And then I started charging about $300 for my services for the next 3 clients. I just kept raising it in increments until I felt like I was at a position where I could charge a decent amount of money. Looking back, one thing that I would recommend to people if they are looking to break into the business is intern for an established planner. That is one thing that I wish that I had done, and I don't regret it at the same time. So it's kind of a 50-50 thing with me. I wish that I had done it because I would have obviously gone into it more prepared. I wouldn't have had to learn a lot of things the hard way as far as just the business behind it, like contracts and what you can and can't do for clients that put you in awkward positions and things like that. So definitely interning for an established planner, I think, is definitely the way to go. I think especially if you don't want to take a huge risk and start your own company and be liable for everything, it's incredibly helpful and useful. However, at the same time, because I just dove right in feet first, didn't really have any hesitations whatsoever. I mean, I did have hesitations, but you know what I mean. So my first year, I actually had about 13 to 15 clients. I can't remember exactly how many, but I was incredibly happy with how my season went down. And the only thing holding me back was that I was still working full-time at this other company. And I didn't really know what to do. I knew that if I wanted to take on more clients, because like that 13 to 15 range was definitely my limit. I was exhausted at the end of that year, just absolutely exhausted. I'd work 9 to 5, go on appointments and walkthroughs after work hours, and then on weekends I'd be really busy with either walkthroughs or weddings. And it was a lot, because you're starting up your own business, number one, which is a lot of work to begin with, and then you're taking on clients, and I just did not expect to get that many in my first year. I thought maybe 5 if I was lucky, and it just kind of completely unraveled from there. So I kind of was faced with this dilemma. Do I leave my job? Do I look for another part-time job? Will I still build my business? You know, should I just only continue to do wedding planning for about 10 clients a year or so until I'm ready to leave my full-time job? I didn't really know what to do. So then I was faced with a position at work where they wanted to switch me to a department. They didn't really know what to do with me. The company was kind of reorganizing and restructuring again. And I was just given the most perfect, wonderful opportunity to leave. And that's what I ended up doing. I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to leave this company. Because one, I was just more and more increasingly unhappy there, only because now that I had this taste of what my life could be like if I had a career that I absolutely 100% loved and adored, going back to that 9 to 5 where I didn't love it, it was really difficult for me. And especially towards the end of that year when I was doing more and more weddings, I was like, this is not how I want to live my life. I really want to do something where I enjoy getting up every single day. I was a new person. My outlook on life changed, and I was just a more happier person. And I never thought that I would be like that because of a career change. So that's pretty much it as far as my story. I basically just dove in feet first, took a huge risk, and luckily for me, it paid off. And I just could not be happier with my life and where I'm going and where I could be headed in my future. So the reason I decided to get into the wedding planning business is also, you know, I mean, of course, I love the planning aspect of it. I like the aesthetics, I like the design, I love colors and patterns, I love putting together an event. That is obviously a huge part of it. But the other reason is because of the family aspect, and I think that's the main reason that keeps driving me to do this full time and to put, you know, 300% into it and to make sure that all my clients feel like they're being very, very well taken care of. I approach it as if, you know, my best friend were getting married, or my sister or my cousin or someone very, very close to me. I treat them as if I would treat a family member, and I think that's one reason why I'm getting a little bit burned out as September is approaching, just because I really, like I said, I put 300% into every single wedding that I do. And my philosophy in weddings is that if you're not going to approach it like that, you have no right to be in this business. It really is a very personal day, and while it is a business, for me it is personal, and I can't help but feel that way. And I know that might not be the right decision or the best way to approach things, but it is, and I can't help it. That's just how I am. But I love meeting the families. I love seeing the different ways that people celebrate. I love the fact that I'm able to give them this wonderful gift of celebrating together. It's because life is hard. Life is really difficult sometimes. It's, you know, we have a lot of sadness in our life sometimes, a lot of struggle. It's very rare that families get to gather together for one day and see each other and celebrate with each other and talk with each other and just, you know, dance and have sing-alongs and party. And I mean, how often do people get to do that? Not very often. Weddings are kind of like, that's what families look forward to. And to be able to give them that gift of doing that worry and hassle-free is just, I can't even explain how rewarding it is. I am so happy to be a part of this business, and now that I've done it, I can't ever imagine myself not doing it. So that's pretty much it. That is my story. I hope that you guys found that useful. If you have any questions, as always, let me know. But I think I'll stop rambling there for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed that, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!